compliment it. I want to keep stepping up the ladder. That's what I want to do, and it's not to pride myself. I have very low pride. My dad was a very prideful person.
Mhm.
My dad was one of those people, I'm a Marine, I'm great, I'm this, I'm that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing I kind of see with modern day people nowadays. They embrace that way too much, I feel. And it's just, it gets to the point where it becomes, it's only, that's what they are. It becomes them. And that's the thing I have problems with when it comes to getting along with certain people. I don't like egotistical. I used to be the doormat, truth be told. I never opened up to this because I was angry and upset with myself in the past. But I used to be the doormat. I used to be stepped on a lot.
I can relate with you a lot with that.
So,
I've been stepped on a lot.
whenever you met me and stuff like that, and things were different back then with the approach and stuff like that. First, I want to say, whenever we met, what we did, everything that's happened, keep this in mind, and I'm not excusing it, but I want you to just recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really truly actually know each other at
No.
full. We knew each other from a distance. I only learned through a distance. I gained the trust. I'm a person where if you give me information, I expect the truth. I do take times and want to search things. I want to make sure that there's actual evidence and information behind everything, debatable or otherwise, and just fulfill the very best outcome for it. My problem is whenever you're part of the New York's education system, they didn't teach you love. That was the problem with that education group. They only taught you intelligence, progression, what you can do with a job ladder, and everything else is irrelevant. You cried, big whoop. Someone was at a hospital, like a kid actually got hit pretty hard with a chair whenever they were in third grade.
Yeah.
And when they picked him up, they didn't even ounce to put medicine or ice on the kid while he was suffering, begging and crying. It was like, someone get a hospital stretcher, just take him. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
No amounts of, any form of compassion. And I've seen that most of my life, and I even learned that because anytime I would ask questions, they would be like, well, if you can't figure things out yourself, then you aren't going to succeed in anything in life. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, I agree. The way we are raised, we're raised to be cold and collective and only look out for ourselves. And while we should be, as as humans, we should be looking out for each other and everyone's best interests.
I try my best, but I don't want to also contradict my will, the Lord, my responsibility. That's the problem.
Mm.
I can't betray that. I'm sorry. I'm willing to be nice to people. I actually stood up whenever they would get bullied back when they were kids and it wasn't seen as normal. I stood up for them. I didn't believe in treating someone awful. And I've always been for civil rights of treating an individual happy. I don't mean if my ways hurt you or upset you and stuff like that. I'm just following a will that I sworn an oath to.
Yeah. And that is your right to do so, to believe in those beliefs. But what I would like to say is, like, while you have those beliefs, do you think it's right for people, even if you don't agree with it, to have rights because they are human beings as well?
That's a tough situation, James, because again, this is two sides of me. Because I have a part of me that have a love for people, and I want to see them strive, and I want to wish the best for them. I don't believe in locking in freedoms, but I do believe that there's good and bad influences. Can you understand it from that perspective?
What would you say is a bad influence? Just so
Can I
I'm on
make
the
an
same
example?
page.
Can I make just a brief example? This is a vague thing, not related, but an example. Like
Sure.
when you're a kid, you're taught about drugs and the
Yes.
effects of drugs. And I do agree that from the history now, we didn't research enough to deem the drugs that we do know. I think research still needs to be done with it personally. I think that there's a medical use behind them.
Yes.
But I also do believe that there's a toxic way of using it because anyone can abuse stuff, no different from if you overdose on a multitude of pills.
You can overdose on a lot of things, and I think drugs should be looked in a better light, if you know what I mean. I think during the I want to say the 60s, marijuana was treated very badly because they wanted to use that to basically patronize minorities just to get rid of them. So they start policing down minorities because they associate them with marijuana for some reason, and
Well,
I think that was wrong.
if that's the case and there was no evidence, shame on those people.
Hmm.
But I do know that Cuba does have a strong connection with the drug cartel. That was proven and stuff like
Yes,
that. In
and
addition to other things like that outside of it, where I stand with weed, it's this, and I know it ain't a popular opinion, but I'm willing to talk to you and open up with it.
sure,
Before, I was a completely anti-weed guy.
yeah,
I was raised as such. They had the DARE program. I never wanted anything bad to happen to my friends. I care about their well-being. When I get on them, it's not to control them, it's for their safety. My
rightfully so.
uncle had a lot of issues with marijuana, and he got arrested a lot for it. And he got into other drugs right after marijuana, like cocaine and heroin and other things like that for
Yeah,
escapism.
yeah,
And that kind of affected our judgment on that pretty heavily. But then there was like a thing on the paper, because I didn't even believe on medical purpose at the time because there was no study shown on it. But I watched the video on the news with my mom one time,
mhm,
and they showed like this laboratory thing. Maybe you know what this is, but this lady showed like if you remove the stuff in the weed that gets you high, and you give it to a person that like has a stuttering problem, for example,
CBD.
it slows down their mind and it allows them to not stutter as much. But the biggest thing I always wonder, even if it's used medically, is still the effects of what it causes. It seemed vague. I still want more information on it before I just outright say, yeah, go for it medically. But I've been more open minded with it medically due to this.
Yeah, and I would also like to give another point on cultivation of marijuana plants in our country. People who are suffering with opioid addiction can use marijuana as an alternative and won't get addicted to opioids anymore. And the effects of marijuana are not even close to what opioids can do to you. So I
And
think it's a positive.
I'm not doubting that part there because I think opioids are just as dangerous. But
Mhm.
my thing is, my mom had a conversation about that. I don't remember what it is exactly because I don't keep up 100% with political things. I don't like being political personally. That's
Yeah,
not me. I'm like gamer in that regard. I just want to live my life. I want to just experience good times, and I want to overcome my issues so I can live a normal life with a job because I've been a shut in for so long.
mhm,
I've been a shut in and I've been closed off from the world for so many years and stuff like that due to depression, demotivation, and other types of things that have haunt me in the past.
yeah,
I know that I didn't treat everything necessarily right, but I wasn't happy at that time. I was in a really bad state of mind.
yeah,
My my first crush ever completely like lied to me about not having a boyfriend and stuff like that. That was my first crush ever, mind you. And I even took the time, like not even a normal confession. I wanted to really impress her, so I gave her flowers. And I even confessed like my heart, which is very hard for me to do after all the things I've gone through. And she just up and took them, acting like it was going to be a thing. And then her boyfriend comes in, gets mad, and I didn't even know she had a boyfriend. She never confessed that to me. And then during that same day, I had all my friends turn on me.
I, th- I think people can be very cruel and not tell you the whole part of the story. I think both of us can relate with that.
And then another problem too, James, was right after that day. This is the very same day. This is what actually drove me to have an emo phase for a short time.
Yeah,
What happened after that was I got home and it was already a bad day. Like couldn't get any worse. I could hear my mom walking home like an hour later in tears and stuff like that. So like, what happened? The dog had cancer. We had to put him to sleep.
yeah.
It just broke. It just broke my mind after that. And then I had to remember Dad earlier because Dad called and he said about, I want to see you again. The bastard never cared and showed. any form of wanting to be around me. He just wants me around just so he's like, I'm a good father for his pride statue and his multitude of achievements because he was a head Marine, super good athlete, and everything else. He wasn't a good dad, and he certainly wasn't nice to my mom. It was nice of him whenever he had like that trip to like, I forget what mission he was set to in the Navy, but apparently he took a picture and there was even the bikini left off of him having an affair with another woman, which broke my mom to the first and only time she drank alcohol till she drunk herself in tears.
I just want to take time and say what your dad did to you and your family is deplorable and should never be forgiven. And I understand what that can do to someone. I really do.
It's hard to not forgive because it's also the requirement of the book, and I had the hard time with this too. I even sometimes argue it in my faith, but after Saga died, I actually gave up and I actually forgave my dad, even though I don't like him, and I don't have to like him. Is the good thing about the book. I don't have to like him, but I have to forgive him for what he's done, even if he isn't sorry. When he died, he said something so arrogant it pissed me off. From a caring and loving father who loved his son. I was so mad I smashed the wall.
He said that to you?
That was in his engraving in his tombstone for his obituary.
Do you think he had regrets?
No, he didn't, because he didn't want to say sorry for my mom, and he was never one that said a mistake. In fact, all the Schaefers after that, which here's the crazy thing, right after she came to visit him, all of like my father's side of the family basically treats my mom like an outsider. They're like, oh, there's that woman. Oh, they remember her? The one that he wouldn't let him have any fun or freedom. Yeah, him. He's like, oh yeah, her. Yeah, I remember her.
They're talking about your mother, right?
Talking trash about it and completely treating her like she was the problem. She was just a loyal wife who cared. Whenever she was busy, like even whenever it was going through the birth process with my mom and she was trying to conceive me and there was pain, she was starting to bleed from where her vagina was getting because it was getting close to the labor time, and he just kept driving. He's like, oh come on, you could do it, just a little elbow grease. And then Grandma's like, she's really in pain, you need to add like something to help her. And it's like, you know what, I'm the driver and I'll tell you whenever we need to do something. He was just so arrogant.
Yeah. That is not the sound of someone who is tender and loving to someone. It sounds like someone who doesn't care and treated your mom like more like a trophy or an object even, just to say, hey, I have a wife, not a true, lover.
He didn't care anyways. He swung with other women at the bar and get drunk every night, which is why I have a bad take of people that get drunk.
Yeah.
It gives me reflections of that, and I can't stand it.
I can see that. I had a lot of what am I had a lot of thoughts about people who were doing drugs for a while because I thought they're just untrustworthy people who just were out to harm me or steal stuff, like stoners. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's until high school. That's when I met like all my friends there, and I realized they're just people like me, and they're just from all walks of life. There just tends to be bad people out there, and that's what I believe in. Like,
I believe that there's varies of people. Not to interrupt you, I do believe there's varies of people, but the problem is they follow the same habits. My uncle actually stole, even though he doesn't remember it, he stole a lot of my mom and grandma's deep jewelry to get more drugs, and he even laughed about it afterwards while he was under the influence. It's stuff like that that makes me have a bad taste of it in my mouth.
Yeah. People with drug addiction have lots of issues getting off of it, and they'll do anything to get another high. And that's why I think people shouldn't be put into prison, but they need help. They need to be put in institutions to recover from that. Putting people putting people in prison because they're like, addicted to drugs only turns them into further criminals. And
I agree with that part.
Yeah.
But the problem is this too. Maybe I'm a bit different with this because this
Mhm.
is where we'll differentiate in our views. But I don't believe that they should be in there for long periods of days or time. I think until their high is out, if they arrest them while they're high, just wait for them to sober up and then get them out of there. I think that'd be a better treatment setting at the very least, if you can get where I'm getting with that.
Sure. And while in tangent with that, we can have recovery programs, groups to talk to of other people who are experienced in withdrawals for drugs. I think
I
that'd be.
pray for those
yeah.
people. I really
Mhm.
do from the bottom of my heart, and I wish the best for them. I do know that there's some that aren't worth it because they just want to do it anyways. Those are the people where I'll get cruel and nasty. And I
Those-
admit I get cruel and nasty, but
Mhm. It's
there's
hard.
just
It's hard to understand where people like that come from because they look like they're completely gone. There's, and maybe that's so. Some people never come back from being addicted from drugs, and it's unfortunate, but they are victims of
I'm not doubting
situations.
that. I'm not doubting that, but if you ain't, I always believe that you're responsible for your actions. Whatever your actions do, one should uphold it, no matter how kind of society gets or more tolerant, I guess you can say.
I believe that to an extent. I do believe you're responsible for your actions, but society does things to people. I'm sure
I'm
you
not
understand
doubting
that.
that too.
There are huge. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
There are huge problems in society, and people have no control over it. And I think we should be a bit more understanding and provide support instead of throwing them into jail. These
Well, it
people need
depends on
help.
people because people lie. That's the problem. It depends
Yeah.
how their actions are next because how often they'll lie, and then it's like it's not like you're wanting to. It's not like I want to go up here and blame groups. I want to blame minorities and stuff like that, and I even want to watch the falling of my country. I don't like that. I wish the very best for it.
I
wish for it to strive, and I love this country. It's just, if I could be honest, the United States of America hasn't felt like the United States of America since Clinton left and the towers crashed.
I love the idea of this country, but the current administration, I think, is doing harm to this place.
That's my biggest thing and why people did this, They want reform. They want a better United States of America at this point. It's gotten way too broken. The old system hasn't worked in years. And it's starting to fall apart. It's starting civil breakups.
I think a revolution is gonna happen. It's like inevitable. It's gonna happen. It just the question is which side is gonna overthrow.
I get
because
that.
People are going to a breaking point. You know what I mean?
It is. And I've been seeing it. And you know what's funny? Here's the thing why I have another bad taste. My pops is the only unbeliever and left in our house. And everyone else gets into fights with it. But I try my very best to negotiate. And we all even were at peace for a while. We're saying, you're entitled to believe what you want, If you want to follow through it and stuff, I mean, who are we? It's your United States right. But you don't have to blaspheme our Lord for it. And I know that that's a freedom, but still, for the ounce of respect, at the very least.
I think people should respect your beliefs and shouldn't shit talk your beliefs. But I also think people have a right to retaliate negatively if they're being emotionally abused. Like even with good intentions, I mean, even with good intentions.
I mean,
people,
I guess.
Yeah.
But the problem is that he gets really hardcore. He got hard about it, and he didn't care that both my mom and my grandmother, who had a heart condition and stuff like that, was literally like breaking down and stuff like that. They just got really nasty about it. And I've been hearing these fights for at least now for 2 months straight, James. I've been only getting 3 hours of sleep in total every single night.
Yeah,
between the breakup and everything else that's happened.
That's not right.
It's shattering everything. My mom's getting more miserable. Her kind side's starting to fade out. All the color in her eyes are dying.
Everyone has their limit,
Yeah.
and until something has to give or happen.
All we're just trying to do is live for right, and that it's just one of those things of just because the world changes doesn't mean God changes and the rock stays there. And I know that's a stubborn thing. I know that's a path that aggravates many, and I know it may be something that not everyone agrees on, but it's not our rules. And then in addition to all that, I just don't understand why politics have to get so bad to the degree where families break up and then they can live on with their lives all happy. And even if they're hiding the hurt deep inside, I don't think that's necessarily right, because there's hurt inside. It should be approached. It should be shown of care. No form of party or power should be enough to destroy someone. I don't believe in that. That's just wrong. It hurts many. It shatters relationships. And it just straight up, you're breaking up families. Something that's supposed to be there for life. I know nowadays families aren't as good as they used to be, but we should try to gain those qualities again.
Unfortunately, during these times, during the pandemic we're having right now, and with climate change, politics is more important than ever, and it has been for a long time. Don't get me wrong, but it's more. People are. I was pulled kicking and screaming into politics, Ken. Trust me, I was one of those people who were like, nah, I don't like politics. I'm neutral, but I was pulled into it because I want to do something about what's happening. I really care about the people here, and the people who are in charge, the corporations. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't, and they are destroying this planet. And just to have another $1 million, they would destroy lives of millions of people.
I don't disagree that that isn't the case with a lot of corporations. Don't misunderstand me whenever I've done my votes or gone my path that I've gone. I've never been someone that believes that the rich shouldn't have had their troubles and their invincibilities and stuff like that. They're a necessity needed, but they're also very, very corrupt in a lot of ways, and money does persuade them. And the biggest thing I noticed is that it's funny, James. Even though we're in two different paths, we both got into these things for the same reason.
Yeah.
It's the other side. It's the reform. I've been seeing so much hurt. I've been seeing just everything that used to be people getting along or approaches and stuff like that. It's just they're dying out, and that it's gotten to the point where bad is good and good is bad. And I've always been a person that cares about my friends, their well-beings, and want to live a full, happy life. And I didn't care about things until they started touching my escape from politics, which was both media and video games. I would
like to argue that games have been political from the beginning.
I mean, I guess there's been signs of it, but it was never this bad. You know what I'm saying? If you can agree. If not, I understand.
That is something I don't agree with you on, because I would like to think that people are more comfortable with expressing different types of politics in gaming, and I'm sure. Now, I'm sure we both know why it gotten worse for people, of your kind of thinking. LGBT issues. I know that's what it is.
It's partly that, and I also just hate alterations of stuff sometimes, taking away the original touch when they promise it's something else.
Do you have a good example of that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, for example, I don't hate Resident Evil 2. I think it's a better improvement. The problem is the fact they called it a remake. It's mostly there, but the alterations have completely changed, even if it's for the better.
Yeah.
It still feels a little unnatural, and that's the concern I have for like other approaches of these things within the future. Not to say that they'll be all bad. I'm willing to see what they are and have an open mind, but there are concerns there because some things get completely altered and completely erase the original inevitability of things. I'm someone that likes to be consistent, if that's understandable.
What would you argue? What would you think is the most egregious thing that a remake or like a remaster even has ever done to a game that you like?
Okay, I'll say this. I love the Final Fantasy VII remake. I don't think it was a right decision because if you recall this, Cloud fought for Zack's right when Zack died. I know it hasn't been confirmed yet, but by the signs of what they're showing, it seems like they are having a memory thing to where Zack never dies in the thing. To that point, it kills the whole point of Cloud's character development and his suffering to become a soldier. I feel that that was a completely unneeded and unnecessary change because it breaks the story completely.
Yeah,
that breaks
I could understand completely. That. I can understand when a game is like changed to a way you don't like it, but I would argue that the original is always there and is untainted, and you can think of a remake or a remaster as an adaptation of that work.
Right, an adaptation. And that, mostly, I'm open to that, but my concern lately has been whenever a remake or a remaster has been released, even if it's the old game, it's sometimes like this thing I don't like. Steam had the original Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
It was there for purchase. Anyone could pay for it and play it. They completely got rid of it, replaced it with the remaster, and the remaster altered some of the characters' original skin models and even done other alterations that ticked off a lot of people.
You see, I actually agree with you on this. I think games should be available as in new editions and old editions. You shouldn't just get rid of the old edition just because there's a new version of the game. I actually agree with you on that.
That's the concern I have because they've been altering the old releases. Like, oh yeah, we're bringing it back. And they're like, oh, okay, but let's just switch this up, add this little update here. There we go. It's like, that's not for the original audience.
I think a good example is the BioShock, the Rapture collection, where on Steam you get both versions, the original Windows version and the remastered versions on your Steam list when you buy it, either of them. I think that's good.
It is. And it's definitely a smart decision. It makes everyone happy. And it's pretty great with that because then you got the two understandings of it.
Yeah.
But they've been getting rid of that as of late, and it almost feels like they're erasing history just because they don't want to face it.
Game preservation is something I'm for 100%. And I think work should be kept in the original forms. And if they adapt, the game to remove things that, people may, because cultures change, right? Cultures changes, so things.
I can agree to that extent. Yeah, different audience, even though.
Jam, do you know what happens at the end of the Final Fantasy VII remake?
They got Nomura. I know that much.
Wait, what does that mean?
Nomura, like if you ever played a Kingdom Hearts game.
No, I haven't played Kingdom Hearts yet. It's on my to-do list.
Oh, okay. I'm sure Ken knows what Nomura means.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It's just the thing he does.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it at that, just so we don't get into super spoiler territory.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil any games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I already know the spoiler. I was asking if you knew it. I
would like to let Mike talk now, and I'll still be here if you want to bring anything up with me.
Sure,
do you want to bring anything up, Mike? Currently,
well, technically, we haven't gotten to any of the issues yet.
Yeah, that is right. That is, but I would like I would like to give Ken the benefit of the doubt to explain anything that are on his mind, so we can set the conversation. You know what I mean? Try to alleviate the stress a bit because I don't. I don't want to. I don't want this conversation to turn toxic, even though there's a high chance of it turning toxic. I wanted to talk to him for a bit, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I had a conversation with you, Ken. But
I appreciate it.
Mike is right. We do need to get to the brass tacks, as they say.
Sure, that's fine by me.
Mhm. So, Mike, what would you like to bring up?
Hell, I don't know. Should we start from the beginning with me, or should we start from Angel or Carlos?
Why don't we start with you first, and we'll get to those.
Actually, for that, I didn't prepare for that at all. I just brought it up all of a sudden because brought it up in the conversation earlier before Ken you banned us all from the Weeb Hunters and deleted all the messages.
It does it automatically, actually.
Oh yeah.
When I hit the
Shift
ban, it
banning.
deleted it. Yeah, I would have kept them. Believe me.
Oh, I have them. Don't worry.
Nah.
Anyways, with me, it's basically the same thing. I've just gotten fucking used to it. But the one thing I just can't get by is in the past. We'll leave that for later. That issue is not prominent.
No, you can
Didn't
bring
he
that
say
up.
anything
I know, but
if you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I
it?
know,
You can talk to
but
it.
I bring this up all the time, and even if you apologize for it, it could have changed the past. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive that, so that's why I said let's forget about that.
Well, let's talk about it. You know,
Mhm. I'm willing to hear because
You already
I'm
know what it
listening.
is, Ken.
I know, but still, I'm willing to listen still more in depth with it.
express your concerns, Mike. That's all you can do. You know.
And all I
Well,
can do is be honest.
The only thing I can really say is there was a time where Ken threatened to ruin my life and had all the cards on the table to do it with, and I never forgave him for that. That's all.
But I didn't act on it, did I?
You were pretty fucking close.
I was close, but I didn't. Did you ever occur to you think why?
Well, let's just say I don't hate you for it, but it's something I can't get by.
I can understand why at the time, but in the same breath, if we're going to have both sides with it, you were being pretty cold there, and I was trying everything I could to just handle the situation peacefully. And when I feel cornered and I'm being constantly attacked, I'll eventually put an act. It's a defense thing. It's not
You were
anything
doing
personal.
plenty of attacking on your own. It's not like it was one-sided. In fact, it was nowhere near one-sided. This was.
I would.
I'm not,
This wasn't the last fight that we had. That was completely my fault.
no,
It was
I'm not
the
talking about
past
that.
where
part.
where. Yeah.
You're talking about that Social Security thing.
Yes.
And you know that I've never done that.
Well, I know. If you did, my dad would have drove to your house and killed you.
Obviously. And even that, too. What would I have a benefit of ruining your life to that degree? I just wanted you to start hearing me seriously because it didn't feel like I was being acknowledged.
I know,
felt
but you know what happens
being
every time
ignored.
you get fucking pissed off with me? You intentionally trigger my OCD, and I fucking had it with that.
I'm sorry about that, but I have had multitude of times to try opening up. Tommy, too, has tried saying
Yeah,
about,
I'm sorry, but until you have OCD that fucking threat that is like so fucking hard to deal with that you don't even want to fucking function anymore, and then your supposed best friend does it on purpose whenever he gets mad at you. Yeah, that,
I don't do it on purpose. I get angry, and I'm sorry that I got frustrated. Okay? It wasn't intentional.
it's not one or two times. It's every time.
Well, to be
I
fair,
would-
we are.
I would like
Go,
to. I would like to interject right here. Ken, you view Mike as your best friend, right?
I want to.
What would make you wanting to threat him his entire life and fucking over his life in the first place, if I can ask?
There was a lot of dramatics that happened, dear James. It was so bad that I felt I felt my heart shake. I had a lot of nerves. I had a lot of hurt and stuff like that. And when I even tried to ignore it, I was getting constantly reminded of it after trying to move on and just take time to think and stuff like that. At that time, my mind wasn't in a right state, so it reacted as such because I was just tired of feeling like it was ignored because I would talk and then, you know how sometimes Mike would just blow you off with things, if you may.
I can understand that, but to a degree,
Right,
I
right.
I don't I don't think
I
threatening
wouldn't
a
act on
person.
it anyways.
You
I don't
know,
like ruining people's lives.
would you at least agree with me that does cause emotional damage because they trust you, and sure, in your mind you can think you're kidding with them, or like you're just threatening them to make them
It
see
was
where
it
you're
was
coming
just
from.
a threat. Yeah, and I know it wasn't the right approach, and I agree with that part there. But the thing is that I already felt emotionally broken already from how Mike was treating me constantly through the situation when I tried to be civil about it.
Do you think you could have might have tried, like, seriously, like Mike, I need to talk to you about this, and I'm serious, or something
Uh,
like that?
I did
Or
try that. I'm telling you the truth with that. I did try that, and
Well, he
all I
probably
got.
he probably did, but I still don't. But I still think that no matter what, I shouldn't have gone that far. I'm not gonna. I'll admit that I was a douchebag back then, but I don't think I deserved that. No matter what, I've never
I
wanted
don't.
to ruin your life, no matter how pissed off I was. Let alone had the cup on the table to do it.
I just wanted to be like treated correctly with that. I didn't want it to get the degree it got, and I felt like I was being ignored, and I felt like no matter what I was doing, I was just going to be the one constantly attacked.
Well,
I
on
felt
that, on
Let
the
me let me be
yeah.
bluntly honest with you. When you do things like that, you kind of deserve it.
So whenever something unjustly happens that
No,
causes
I'm
like a
not
toxic,
saying anything else we've fought over ever. I'm talking about that one thing. That's the
well, to be fair,
ever do.
that one
That is
thing was
that one
during a
time.
fight.
That one time in our entire friendship. That one specific moment in time, and that is all. Is the one time you deserve to be attacked back. Every other time, maybe not.
All I ever tried to do was just sort it out nicely. So I was just supposed to just take the blame for something.
Well, I don't remember what the fuck that was about, and I'm trying to log into Skype right now so I can go back and see what the fuck it was about.
If they kept it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the damn truth.
Well, my final take on this subject, right? We're talking
Mhm.
about. I think it was wrong to threaten your friend, Ken. I think it was very wrong. No matter how you felt, and I'm sure you felt like Mike was abandoning you or ignoring you. There's always a better way than threatening someone, especially someone you care about.
I
Even if
did
they're
admit it was a mistake.
all right.
And I did say that, I wasn't in my right state of mind.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think that, like, if someone's trying to talk, negotiate, fix the problem out, and they're just being constantly douchey or blocking their ears and stuff like that, that not expecting a retaliation wasn't going to be a
Okay, you,
thing.
you
And
you don't
since
seem to get
nothing
where
was
we're
going to
coming
hurt,
from. We're not saying your insults were. We're not saying don't fucking like. I I don't even know how to explain that without sounding like an entitled fool.
Well,
I'll just sound like an
just
entitled
just
fool.
try
then.
just try to explain what you're saying, and we can talk about it. That's what this is here for, Mike.
yeah, I'm here to try to conversate.
Well,
I've
what
been
James is
consistent
trying
there.
to say is that you shouldn't threaten people's livelihood no matter what.
I'm not saying that I
Threatening
agree
someone
that,
like, oh, you're a douchebag, or you're a faggot, you're a cunt, that's fine. Threatening someone's
but,
life, well,
but the
essentially
thing
their
was,
life is just not is a no, no matter who you are.
I'm not saying it was right, but I'm just saying whenever nothing else has been affecting someone and someone doesn't feel bad for what they've done and stuff like that, and they're just being upright cold and have a wall on there, and they're making the other person feel they're feeling fine while the other person's feeling like miserable crap.
Ken, I think you're over dramatizing the situation quite a bit.
It's not, because it was actually how I felt. You said to be honest. I'm being honest.
I would argue that you doing that has backfired a
It may
lot.
have backfired. It did. I agree with that. That's why I moved on from that. I let it go. I didn't even bring it up.
At the same time, people's pain and like they remember that. They remember when people get, it's almost like a betrayal, even if you don't act out on it. Like, it's a betrayal of trust. And even while you felt abandoned, that you pretty much betrayed Mike there, his trust, and he never recovered from that.
Well, he told me that he did, and he even did like
Well, that's
that.
because you wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
Because I cared about you.
While I'm going to say this very lightly, while you may had good intentions, quotations, it was very wrong of you to do that.
I didn't say it wasn't wrong. I'm just saying if someone's sorry and they let it go and stuff like that, and they're not holding on to it anymore.
Okay, well, let me put it. Okay, what if it was something even worse? Like, say, I don't know. I don't want to go extreme here, but
this is what this conversation's for, Mike. We got.
All right, fine. This is going to be extremely extreme, but it's the only thing I can think of right now because my mind's fucked up. Okay, pretend someone raped someone in your family, and they apologizing to you day and day and day and day and day. Would you forgive them? I don't think you would.
It depends on how many years ago it's been, and if the person was truly sorry and hasn't acted on it since then. Forgiveness is a key to moving on, whether they continue to be friends or they continue to like let the problems eat up to the degree where people don't get along anymore. And that's
I'm not one to hold grudges, and the fact that I can't get by this should show you something.
Forgiving someone is also a path to more abuse. You realize that, right?
To a degree. I don't know if I 100% follow with it unless they truly aren't sorry and they continue to act on it the very next time and they continue to harp onto it. Because to me, that's abusive.
No one can be sure if someone's being genuine. It's one thing to say, I'm serious and please believe me or something like that.
Right, but if you also know the person and you've seen their action for like years now that they haven't acted on it since then, they don't have any intentions of acting on it since then, isn't it time to let go?
Well, when someone is emotionally abused, it's hard to let go of that.
I'm not doubting that, but if they haven't acted on it, they're not continuing to act on it anymore, I don't think that should be held accountable. That's just cold.
Well, it may seem cold. People who were abused in the past or like told something have every right to hold you accountable for that.
I'm not doubting that part, and I agree with that. But it's like when they're done doing that, they're done doing that. Simple as that. They're not going to do it anymore. It's on them to leave it alone.
The best thing you can hope for is, because this is hypothetical. Maybe someone can completely forgive you, but a lot of times, and most of the time, people don't really forgive you. They keep that back and just put it aside because I want to be friends with this person. That abuse doesn't go away. So the best case scenario is you making sure you don't do that thing again to that person, and that doesn't mean that person doesn't feel. That doesn't mean that person won't feel contented for what you did to them before.
Right.
But all you can do is try to be a better person, and that's the only thing you can do. And sometimes even that doesn't work because they were hurt. They were hurt.
And that's fair. If that's the case, then I just rather have the honest truth. They don't feel that connection. They are hurt by it. So then we'll go on our merry ways, which is fine by me.
Well, see, you only took part of what he was saying.
No, I was just speaking out of legitly, like...
Yeah, but you just said that you can't continue on your way like that, but James was explaining to you exactly why.
I can understand why. I can understand
You were right, Skype doesn't have the old logs, they're all gone.
Yeah.
I'm just stupid, like you were sick of me playing Minecraft and I was sick of you bitching at it, because that has happened before.
And people, you know, they grow apart. That's just
Mhm.
something that happens with interests. It's
Mhm.
not an invitation to harass them and like
No.
maybe it's an invitation to have a conversation like, hey, we really don't do anything much anymore, you know?
I mean, I guess, but I've always been someone that just wants to have like the connection with friends and stuff like that, and I just want to move on from those bad times and have the great times. And if that's the friendship, power to it. If not, then hey, it was a good run while it lasted. Just
I
no
get
hard
that
feelings, I
entirely.
pray.
But people always change. And if you can't be there to accommodate that and you would rather stick to your old ways, you got to expect them to move away from you because people do change.
To a degree, yes, people do change, and it's just some changes will stick, some won't. It's
Yeah.
what everyone is. But I also
Yeah.
do think that a person's well-being and who what they are in their heart should determine what they are, not necessarily the actions of how they acted.
I would say it's hard to determine that, you know, rather
It
than
is.
because that's just saying something and it's hard to determine how that person really feels inside.
Well, it's
So
not like I can physically do anything here to prove that. So I'm
I,
just
I,
doing
I
my
know,
best.
I know, but you got to understand where me, Mike, and a lot of others in that old group are coming from.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
even the people who you banned from the server, that's not everybody who's having this discussion. Like,
No, I get that.
I'm going to say this, but Tommy is kind of. He doesn't want to confront you because he's afraid of you.
I told them
And
multiple
when you banned
times.
everyone else from the server, you sent him into a fucking severe mental breakdown. Like,
I had a feeling that was going to
he
lead
was
to that.
hysterically crying.
I'm sorry that that was the case, stuff. I was kind of hurt too. I was kind of in tears myself.
Yes, but I thought we were past this banning people because we don't like them thing.
It's not that. It's the fact that everyone basically confessed that they were lying about how it actually was. That stepped on
Nobody
my
was
trust
lying to
quite
you,
a heavy
though.
bit.
How is it a lie when
No
you
one
never
was
asked the
lying.
question?
Because I said in the following thing, even back with the situation with Angel and stuff like that,
Yeah,
which I
but
told nothing.
you were flat out accusing her of editing those messages, which we know.
Those screenshots
Well, I
are
was
not-
told that. I was told that by Zach, Mary, and quite a few other people. I was told that by those very same people.
I
Well,
would
I'll question them
argue
about that. I'll question
you
them about
have-
that later.
You have the logs yourself, so you would know if you said things.
Right, and I also took a picture of my entire log through the print screen. And
Yeah, I know.
showed
We
the
have your
exact-
horrible quality images as well.
Yeah, I get that. But even still, like all I basically tried to do was explain things. And when I even talked to Kate about things in the situation, she said originally that no, she in her
Yeah,
opinion.
that's because she didn't know the other side of the story. None of us did until Steven opened our minds.
I have seen some logs. I'm sure you know. I've seen a lot. I mean, obviously, you know.
Yeah, even though I
And-
didn't really want that to be involved.
Yeah, but it's something we need to talk about because it's another strain of emotional abuse for someone.
Well, I talked to my mom who saw the actual abuse, and she 100% knows for a fact that, and it isn't just because she's my mother. She tried communicating multitude of times, and she would just be ignored. That Angel, did not care 1 ounce. She may have acted like she cared, but there was she had a lot of reserved information.
That not necessarily true. Maybe how you took it.
That's what she said.
She actually wanted to be
part.
She wanted to be a part of this, but me and James said that's probably not a good idea because you might outright refuse it because of how pissed off you were earlier.
I was hurt. I wasn't pissed off. I was hurt.
How do you think we
And-
feel? I mean, especially James and Joseph. They did nothing to you recently, and they were being hit for no reason.
I will admit right now that that night in January, while I do believe everything I said, I was high and I was,
I know you were
doing it to
high.
get a reaction. I was doing it to give you a reaction. But that doesn't mean it was right what I did trying to harass people, and I'm sorry about that. Even though I agree with 100% what I said that night. I do, but I shouldn't have brought it up that way. So I'm sorry.
I forgive.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I'd say we're maybe 25% through all the things we need to discuss. This is taking a lot longer than I thought.
Well, this is just.
I know,
this
it's
is
just
how it is, Mike.
I
I'm sorry.
fucking I haven't taken my medicine in like almost 2 days now, and my mind is not the best because of that. Because I'm a retard who sets his alarm clock to take the medicine. This is like, oh, the alarm clock went off. I'll take my medicine after I forgets about it.
I'm sorry. This is like inconvenient, but it's something that needs to be done.
That is not what I was saying at all. I was just saying my mind isn't the
No,
best
no, no, no.
choice right
I'm
now.
saying I'm saying I understand, and it wouldn't be wrong for you to think that it's inconvenient because no one wants to have this conversation. It gets touchy,
I'm glad that you and Carlos came to me of all, because like holy shit, that just proves that you guys actually trust me, and for some reason I just felt that you guys didn't trust me anymore.
What I want the outcome of this conversation, which I'm going to be upfront, is unlikely. Everyone to understand each other and can to see new light on things, and maybe just change his ways just a bit to accommodate people. If that's not too much.
It depends on what it is. If I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm going to do one
Well, we're
thing
not-
for you.
well, What we're asking
since
you to
I re-
change isn't something like your belief in God or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. No way. Especially
Yeah.
because
Well,
I'm also a believer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it just depends on the situation with the thing, with the respect. Because the one thing, since I have respect with this right now, and I really appreciate how you've approached this so far, James.
Thank you.
And I didn't mean
No
to flip
problem.
my shit out earlier, but you were just bullheaded and wouldn't listen to me.
If I may,
Mhm.
I just want to say that I don't want to lie to you either. I know how I am. I know who I am, and I'm not going to lie to people about it. I'm an open person to an extent with the best I can. I used to be very closed off. I'm trying my very best here to improve. At the very least, all I can do is tell the truth on what I know I can do and what I know I can't do, even if it would be from a beneficial perspective to others. And it's nothing personal. It's just something I can't do. If it's
Well,
something
I can
can't
understand that. Like, I'm having a real tough time with Tango right now because I know he's a Satanist, but I'm still trying to move forward from that.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
It's just-
doing my very
I don't
best.
know why he ever told me that. He knew about my OCD. He should have just kept that a secret. But you know
I
what?
think-
I respect him for telling me because he wanted to
yeah,
be honest with me.
it's very good to be upfront with people.
That's
I
why
agree
I
with
can't.
that.
That's why I'm kind of disappointed in myself for just walking away from Tango like that. I mean, sure, a bunch of us did, but
And-
I was one of the ones who pushed it, and I have to apologize
And
for that.
here's a really good example. While we all have different beliefs here, trust me, all three of us have different belief systems here.
Mhm.
Mike can put that aside, because he is a. Can I say the word, Mike?
Go right ahead.
He is a Satanist, and that does have a lot of conflicts with his own beliefs.
Right.
My brain.
You can.
I thought you were calling me
can-
that.
No. You're.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm saying it out loud so it goes away from my head.
What I'm trying to say is we all we can all put that aside and be accommodative to many people of walks of life. So while they might not have our same beliefs, we can talk with each other and have a kind of an understanding with each other. As long as we don't harass and hurt people for people being different. If someone wants to shout out that they're pansexual or trans or all that, I think that's fine. I think them being happy and open and being happy with themselves is a great thing. And while you may not believe that's the right thing to do, I think people have every right to do that. Just like they're happy to be a Christian and open with their religion. That's what I'm saying.
I get with that. Again, that might be also a me thing too. It's not just one half that. The other half of me is I've always been a reserved person. I've always shook the hand of my opponents. I never bragged about any award I won. It's just not who I am. I've always been wholesome with that.
Well, let me just say this: it's kind of like you're comparing Carlos coming out to feminazis on Twitter who assassinate people who say anything against them.
I didn't say it to that degree.
Well, that's what you were implying, but I'll drop it there because I might have misunderstood.
I would like to give you guys a new term for those types of people, and I know what type of people you're talking about. I call them woke scolds, where they be woke for the sake of being woke to get brownie points with liberals. And I hate fucking liberals. You know, people in the middle who have no opinion and let's be nice with each other. You know, even though, like, you know, they're
kind of
causing
wanting
harm.
that, but it's different.
Yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
I hate woke scolds. Trust me. People who won't even listen to reason on your side and not have a conversation and just block you and gatekeep you from a community. I hate that. I hate it so much.
I get that.
Okay, I'm sorry for just outright. I happened to check at the other server just for the hell of it, and this is something posted made me laugh. Sorry. I know now's not the time for that, but I don't know. I was kind of fidgeting because, yeah.
It's a tough conversation to have.
I've been doing that the whole time because I don't know. I'm trying to keep myself occupied while also taking in
right
everything
now,
you say.
I'm showing evidence and proof that I'm trying my very best to sort this out.
Yeah, we're still only about 1/4 of the way through because we haven't actually moved on to the next topic yet.
Would you like to begin the next topic, Mike?
This one's gonna be where the unlikely stuff happens. All right.
Well,
Gus,
we gotta try.
Let's discuss what happened between you and Angel.
As hurtful as it is. Now, I'm not saying people didn't get hurt on both sides. I'm not saying like you weren't hurt by her, but what I'm saying is what you said to her is really fucked up.
I'd like to know how exactly.
Well, we have plenty of things to go through.
We have the
James, let's check HE double hockey sticks and then come up with a couple of examples.
All right.
Just note that I am going to explain myself the best I can with those.
Well, we're not saying you shouldn't. We're not here to ostracize you. We're here to try and get you to see a different angle.
Yeah. And in fact, that's what I want you to say. I want you to try to, because I want to know why you say these things. So that's perfect, actually.
Oh, it's not HE double hockey sticks. What channel was that?
I think it was in the vent chat, actually.
Yeah, vent.
Vlogs. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna give me a.
I should have gave Zach access to that channel too because that's what.
Give me a
read
little bit to read through these, and I will even share this. All right. Now, I want you not to be mad at Angel because she was looking for support from someone because she was hurting really badly after what happened. Do you agree with this?
Part. Okay. I understand that part. I'm not here to like strike. After that happened, I was just going to leave it alone.
All right. Thank you.
Sorry, my body's shaking.
I can understand that. Sorry, I was not prepared for this subject, so give me a few minutes and I will bring one.
Brat, what are you doing? Be a good doggy. I don't need this right now.
All right. So as I'm looking for the log, I want to bring up something. I know you said you were commenting to her about her weight.
I
believe.
wasn't trying to do it with that. I was out of concern and safety. If I can start with that, if I may.
Sure.
I'm not someone that like up and cares about if someone's heavy or not, stuff like that. Notice that I still loved her despite that.
Mm.
But all I had was within concern and stuff like that was I talked to her, and you know that I have concern and love for people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even if it seems intrusive, I'm not trying to intrude in someone's lifestyle and stuff like that. But my mom had concerns. I had concerns because my mom grew to love her so much and stuff like that too. And she said about me, it's like, how's Angel doing? How she's doing well. I hope she is doing well with her weight and stuff because I want her to make sure she has a good, happy life. And she's such a beautiful girl, and I love who she is and stuff like that. So I was going through the consistence back and forth of like wanting to see because if I'm going to have a future with someone, can you understand? I want them to live a long, happy life, and that food consumption can be dangerous to health from a health perspective.
I'm not down in that. Not at all.
That's the reason why I would get like protective. I care about the people that I love and stuff like that. It includes their health. So every single time I would talk and stuff, it would just normally be her stuffing her face with food and stuff like that. And I left it alone for a bit because everyone can have a treat. Everyone can have food. Everyone needs to eat. And it's a thing that makes her happy. And I understand that. But it became so consistent and I got concerned for her well-being and stuff like that. Her mom even brought up about how much consumption they have and how they have it sometimes late at night because she would call me late at night whenever I wasn't even
let me
allowed
stop
to
you
be
right there. If you should be concerned with anyone eating too much, you should be concerned with me. I've probably consumed 100 pounds worth of food in the last 2 weeks.
You think I'm not concerned for you?
You never bring it up.
The only reason I don't is because when you used to tell me to fuck off.
Well, then what did you think was going to happen with people?
Well, with her,
That's
with
a
love
touchy
and stuff
topic
like
for
that.
women,
I
especially.
understand that, but when you're honest with your lover, it's a bit different from a friendship. Can you understand a relationship's a bit different from a friendship? You get more close, you get more concerned, you get attached in a different way.
I would argue approaching someone about an issue they have is sensitive on both ends.
Yes, and I understand that, and I'm sorry if she felt like it was a sensitive attack, but all I had was the best care of intentions, whether people want to think lowly of me or not of it. I just want.
Did you think of maybe to back off from the conversation because she seemed very uncomfortable with that?
Yes, I left it alone for a long time, but then she would keep bringing up food and topics about me again. She would keep talking about it to me, and I wanted to let it go.
Well, yeah, she's supposed to discuss things with you. She was your
That's unfair, though, because if it's a topic that's sensitive on both ends, why should one shove the thing?
That is not. Well, I mean, okay, that might have been how you took it. She was just talking to you.
She knows that I have concerns about her. And she knows
So
that
are you telling me every time I talk about eating McDonald's, you have a semi-heart attack?
Not every single time, but it's like, if it's like you're talking about wanting to get more, and it's all the conversation ends up being every single conversation. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Wouldn't it feel like push after a while? Saying the same thing and only that thing when you're talking to someone over and over again?
I would say there's a way to approach someone about, and maybe it's a health issue. I have no right to say, but that's up to someone to, find out for themselves. Overeating is bad, but I'm not gonna call out someone. If they're happy with who they are, then why should I try to ruin their day by telling them, oh, I see you're enjoying that food, but you should really it would hurt them. No matter how
Sorry.
no matter how no matter how much good intentions you have, things that you say can and will hurt people.
I understand that, but I feel like if a person understands where they're going with it and stuff like that, that shouldn't be an instant target thing. To me, that's not fair. And that's not being very fair to the other person. That's just looking after them.
Well, to be honest, she was just telling you about her day and what she was eating.
And I get that, but then it would lead to other things, and that's what would happen with my conversations with her. I oftentimes try to approach her about like, I love you. And I'm not trying to hurt you and to care and stuff like that. And then also I would get constant concerns because my mom knows about bad relationships. And she knows and she wanted like what was best and stuff like that. But she said multitude of times, if it kept going the way it did and no one's caring about you, you just outright break up with them. And I didn't want to do that.
So you would say you'll break up with someone even though you cared about them because of their weight issues?
That wasn't the reason.
Well, we know what the reason was. He was just making a point.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I said I didn't want to. But I also know in the same breath, concern for both people's livelihoods is both parties have to love each other. Both parties have to have an interconnection and want to spend their life with being long and happy and prosperous. If it's gonna be an issue and stuff like that, it's just gonna lead to bad feelings and stuff like that. It's just not gonna work out, much like anything.
All right. You see, I actually kind of agree with that. But from these logs, it seems like you were trying to. She said she wanted to take a break and, maybe reflect on the relationship. And you seem to be pestering her and saying she's a bad person. Okay.
I can explain that one, okay? Allow me to explain that one because that one's a tough situation. And I know from the log perspective, it approaches it as such, but.
Sure.
I'll explain the entire story and keep this in mind now too. I need this to be really sensitive here because this really makes my body shake, and I've had a multitude of breakdowns remembering this. This is something that I really, really can't hold tough like the other things.
All right.
All right. Sorry.
All right. Yeah. Do you maybe want to take a break or something if it's too touchy of a subject for you? I can understand.
I'm trying.
All right.
Okay, I can do this. I can do this. I have a deep connection with her. I gave her $100 worth of jewelry, which I haven't done with most of my relationships. And during that night, that was a tough time. There wasn't information being spread on both ends. We weren't being fully open. And there was things I didn't even acknowledge until I was told after, which I would have been willing to fix and sort out with myself. And I agree with that there. But the whole situation got really cold after that. I was in tears, broken down, shattered. I couldn't sleep. My body was shaking. I felt so numb. and stuff like that. I loved her with all my heart, and I felt like my heart just got stopped after what happened. And I felt like it was like a one time, like after one mistake, that's it. Oh well, don't care situation. And I know that because originally I was going to let go of things and give things to think, but as you can tell, I was in super bad tears. All my family ran in, just so you're aware. All of my family ran in. And they were concerned about me. I was not in a good place. I had multitude of like conversations with outside of people that you don't even talk to. Conversating and stating what I should do in the situation and stuff like that. And they were seeing like they understood my side. I showed it. They conversated with her for a little bit, and everything that came through at the very end, they said that we weren't good for each other and stuff like that. But I still had my heart and hope that if there was really love and someone loved someone with all their heart, that they maybe would just forgive and give another chance. I know if you don't feel it, you don't feel it, and I like that honesty.
Mhm.
But I didn't like the approach of right after everything that happened. There was just so much coldness and cover-ups on someone breaking down, hurting, crying, not able to eat for days, hurting for them, and they didn't show any ounce of care or check up on someone saying if they're okay and stuff like that, having even suicidal thoughts. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts.
Well, you know, relationships are very tricky things. But when someone gets hurt, it's kind of hard to explain themselves rationally, you know?
I get that to a degree, but I tried my very best and just stated the honest feeling and how much I really did care and I wanted to communicate. And I'm getting messaged like crazy, but I want to focus on that right now.
I would say like, wow, you may want to make things up with them. That's up for the other party to
Right.
decide.
Right, and I get that, but I just wish there would have been more compassion approach to it. And then I only snapped because afterwards, like I was being told, she doesn't care. She doesn't show any ounce of you. If I were you, I'd stand up for you. I think you need to stand up for yourself. So I did.
Well, I think that was wrong to do.
I was told to do that, and I was also, she says, like, there wasn't any care shown. There was no love and stuff like that. And this person doesn't feel any ounce of badness for what happened. And it got to the point where like I felt like I was being laughed at. I felt very, very pushed and bullied. And it gave me a lot of emotional damage. A lot.
People can seem cold when they are, going through relationship issues. A lot of shit is talked for the other partner. I'm not going to deny that. A lot of shit's talked, but maybe that's to her that maybe that's valid, to help relieve stress of the whole situation. And while it sucks, trust me, it does suck when you like someone and they are treating you that way. It hurts, but you gotta understand from the other party what you said to her really hurt her feelings, and she was just trying to she was just trying to make herself feel better in any way she could. We have weird ways of coping as human. We do. And I'm really sorry if you got hurt by that. But I just want to let you know she was hurting as bad as you were. But so the fact that you almost seemed toxic and vile towards her, yeah, that would turn someone off if they're already hurt. They wouldn't want to have anything to do with you, and rightfully so. But you gotta understand that.
I just don't think it was right whenever someone's sorry, they show care. There wasn't any ounce of care back. They still had to think about things. My mom's like, what is there more to think about? You've been in a relationship, you've been honest, you've been only associating with her most of the conversation and stuff like that. It's the same thing that dad did to me, is what mom said. Same thing dad did to me.
Well, I would disagree with that.
I already
would
know that.
She was just hurting and she needed time for herself. And that is really, I'm repeating myself, but I'm just trying to say it's a really complex situation.
This is a super complex situation.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my best, but I can't say it any more than what it actually is.
But what I'm trying to say is, when she was already hurting, right? Look at it from this way. She was already hurting, and while she was acting cold, she was trying to be strong, you know? She didn't want to show you how much she was hurting. And that's a normal way to cope. And then instead of trying to, you know, be, you know, trying to be understanding, you attacked her in a vulnerable point. It's no wonder why she would want to, you know, be pushed away from.
I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. I only acted out after. It's like we had a call afterwards. We were in a voice call, and they said that, you know, if we're hurt, we shouldn't be like communicating or talking together. She joined the call with me as I was trying to get away from it, and then it was acting like everything was hunky dory and stuff like that. After knowing I've been in tears and hurt and stuff like that, that just felt like no compassion whatsoever. None. It's like you just got done raping someone's family member, then you go up to that next person's family, you're like, hey man, it was cool, so what about that TV show last night? Great, huh? Like it was no big deal.
I would argue to say she was trying to open up with you, and maybe because she obviously still cared about you as a person.
Felt
Still,
like the complete opposite. It didn't feel like love. It felt like complete and utter, well, if it didn't work out for me and stuff like that, I'm gonna go my way.
it might seem that way, but would you at least kind of agree that if she still wanted to talk to you, like still on talking terms, she wanted to try to slowly mend? Because maybe people don't want to go straight to talking about the situation because it hurts, but she was still wanted to be on speaking terms with you, and you acting volatile that way pushed her farther away than you could ever, you know.
I can understand that, but I think that it was just, I don't think that I should always be the punching bag, you know, she'd be the one with the emotional wounds and the scars and stuff like that. I'm so sick of it, and I'm sorry if you don't see things that way, but it's what it actually feels like, what it is. So I know that this one is probably not one that's going to be fixed, but keep at least an acknowledgement that I'm trying to have an open mind to understanding it and explaining to the best of my ability.
I think.
All right,
Wow.
because this one's super heavy for me.
Yeah, and I can see that. It's very, relationships are very sensitive. But the last thing I want to say about this is, like, I would at least try to talk to someone on speaking terms and not try to go, you know, straight to trying to fix things if a relationship had a fallen out. I would let it try to mend. You know,
I get
mend it back
that,
together.
and if it would have been for like days, then sure. But it's like long days now. Granted, like almost weeks, I could understand that.
Sure, it
But
could
I
take
felt
months,
like at the time,
even
'cause
years.
right.
It could take
But
that,
the reason
yeah.
why I approached it this way is because maybe not everyone follows this way, but if you have a deep love for someone and you've been honest and you said that they only feel those feelings only toward you and stuff like that, and they only made one mistake with that, that it's not enough after they've been loyal, honest, they haven't cheated, done anything horrible absolutely like real awful, demean for destruction, or intentionally want to watch you fall or suffer and feel good about it, that they should be given at least, without a second thought, if you really love someone, it shouldn't even be second nature. It should just be right there, or it isn't. You love them or you don't.
I would argue it's more complicated than that, and I'm sorry.
Well, then maybe that's
Can we
where
stop
differ.
here for a minute? I'm gonna try and see if Steven will show up in here.
Sure. Are you okay with him joining the conversation, Ken?
I feel an overcomplication already with this conversation. My energy's going down. I have high anxiety right now, like really high. I feel like my heart's about to break.
Well, I understand that. We really wanna solve this right now, but if you don't want him to come in, then I understand.
I'm sorry. Right now I'm overwhelmed.
All right. So maybe not for the best then, Mike. We'll just continue this way.
Yeah, because this is already hard enough, and it's like my heart wants to like at least be civil with you.
Yeah, and
That's what I
you've
always
been.
wanted to be.
I'm going to say you've been. While we disagree on a lot of things, you've been pretty civil in this conversation. So thank you.
I'm doing my best. My body's shaking. Sorry.
I think we should talk about the Carlos situation now, and what was like, what really caused this all. All right. So Carlos, we all love Carlos. He's very positive. He's a very positive person.
He's a very loving person, and I love him.
He is a very loving person, and he DMs me all the time, and I'm glad to see someone, cares about me and asks how my day is, and it kind of makes me smile a bit.
That's good. I like that.
Carlos wants to express himself in ways
I get that.
you may you obviously not agree with. You obviously.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with that, but I also do at least keep this in mind. I do care about him. I look at him as a friend. I saw him from a civil perspective, and I enjoy having him around.
Mhm. Likewise. On the same level, you gotta understand, you controlling his nickname deeply hurt him because he doesn't have a lot of ways to express himself.
And I didn't know that at that time, which is why I left it alone afterwards. I just wanted to explain my side because Carlos typed that to me afterwards of it explaining why, and I just want to explain the understanding why back. So I just left it alone after that.
Yeah.
And the thing that caused the thing was I was told 2 stories, but he also apologized and said he wasn't thinking in his right mind when he got up in the morning, which I instantly forgave. It wasn't even a second thought.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the story he first said to you they had contention with?
Well, first it all started whenever the conversation was random whenever Gamer and the rest of the guys were around and stuff like that. And they're saying, does anyone know what Carlos actually really is and stuff like that? And it's like, I don't know, I just was figuring it out and just wanted to know for sure and stuff like that. And then Carlos hopped in, and then Gamer's like, Carlos, no pressure. And I could tell Carlos felt pressured first, but I was like, but no problem. I just want to know, what are you? Are you straight or whatever? It's like, Carlos was like, I don't know. I guess pansexual?
Yeah, that's the thing with Carlos. When he gets put on the spot, he gets really nervous.
And I get that, and I kind of explained it, and Gamer comfortably quickly was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know. That's good. And everyone else was on board basically with that. But then he had other conversations about it being back and forth with me. It's on and off, and he was telling everyone essentially the same thing for a while. And I just wanted to know the truth. at the time. That's all. It was more of a like not a problem with it. It's just are you not? Just stop saying two stories and stuff like that. And it was being left alone.
I think a better way would be to DM him about it, because when he's put out on a spot, he stutters a lot.
Well, yeah, and I did message him privately about this before, and he would tell me another story and stuff. I even had a vocal call with him one time within that, like before that final like conversation with them, with the whole thing of if he is or if he isn't. And he already explained that, he was tired, he wasn't thinking with his right mind and stuff like that. And I just asked basic questions because I remember him going through a multitude of dates in the past too. I just wanted to be sure that he knew, so he was certain. It wasn't anything of directive and I left it alone after that. But he currently has a girlfriend. He's gone through a multitude of girlfriends.
Did you know that his current girlfriend is trans?
He did not specify that.
That's because he's afraid to tell you things.
Yeah.
Well, he should have just told me. I would have left it alone.
Which is why I think it's very healthy for him to express that he's pansexual, because that is an umbrella term that expresses like, I don't care what you are. I just like
he goes
you.
either or. It goes either or. And
it's actually a more inclusive version of bisexual, if you think about it.
Right, and I get that part. The thing is, though, I just would have liked to at least, I'm a person who likes to hear honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I like an approach, whether it's good or bad, beneficial. I like the truth.
I understand that.
I'm just someone that, I'm not going to turn on someone. I'm not here for destruction. I look for information. I trust my friends. I try my very best to engage myself with the highest form of love and a good intent, even if it isn't always necessarily on their favor. And if it isn't, it's one of those things of, well, we just won't talk about that topic with that specific person because we don't want any more dramatics or bad feelings. We'll just leave that be.
Yeah. But at the same time, when someone wants to publicly express themselves, would you say they have the right to do that to make them feel better about themselves?
Within reason, I think. Keep that in mind. I know that's where we differentiate again there. But
yeah. And I
think approach has a lot to do with it with me.
I would like to talk to you about that. What do you mean within reason?
Okay. For example, if you out and say it like once or so, like I'm this, and I just wanted you to know, okay, power to you. All right, I understand. You've told what the things are, and all I can do is just be an honest friend from this point on. But you are what you are. You have the right to what you are while you're on this world. And I will understand that loud and clear. Mm-hmm. But whenever it's like constantly either mentioned or even like getting to the point where it's being like the only conversation you have whenever you don't talk to anyone else for anything else and stuff like that, it starts feeling pushed. And I know that is going to be a completely disagreement there, but it's like if I kept talking about the same thing over and over and over again, and I was talking about this is great, I'm not going that way. I don't believe in that. Okay, you don't believe in that, leaving it be.
Would it be unreasonable to have an open conversation about that with even if you don't agree with that, instead of just randomly changing their name back to something?
At the time, I didn't know it was going to hurt them that badly. That I apologized for. But
yeah,
I just didn't think that, like, it's like you're already asking someone that isn't really for it, like, to at least be understanding who they are. I did that, okay? Understand from that perspective. Told me to, like, realize he's that. I understand that. That would have been fine. Then talk about, like, hold on, let me breathe. It's been a lot. Then you go on and you tell me that, you still want to be friends. You felt scared. Okay, I'm glad we could talk about that. Thank you for opening up to that. I don't want you to feel like I hate you just because of what you are. I'm a person of hate the sin, not the sinner. That's just what I go with.
Yeah. And,
But as for like anything else goes after that, like it starts feeling like I get it's a way of expression. I get it's a way of like freeing your mind and stuff like that, but it just feels a little bit like egotistical at times. I don't know, like you are what you are, great. You've explained what you are, great. You know their friendship and stuff like that, great. But why should I only focus on the person just for that identity? I acknowledge him as Carlos Santiago, my good friend, and that I really care about him and I wish the best for him. I wouldn't mind playing a game with him. He's always welcome in the chat, and if he ever feels pressure or any issue and stuff like that, I want to talk to him as such. I want to help him out. I want him to know that he is safe amongst friends and stuff like that. There might be topics we never talk about, but at the very least, I can always be there when he needs me for other things. I'm doing my very best. And that's a lot for someone that doesn't outright already support this from the get-go, and it's not even welcomed in my own house.
would you?
I'm trying here.
Yeah, I get that. Would you argue? Would it be wrong for me to argue that you're pushing your own beliefs on someone?
Well, that's why I believe in the server side thing. That's why if there's another server they work through with stuff in that, power to it, you know? Everyone can have a conversation, can still associate there. They're always welcome to conversate. I never had a problem if other people want to talk on the other server and stuff. I'm all for it. I understand not every topic and every viewpoint is going to be the same on every server, and everyone's going to be approach different pattern. All I can do is just tell the truth and stuff like that with what I know. And despite what others may want to hear or not hear, or what they deem benefits them, power to them, they live for them. I live for me and Jesus Christ. It's one of those things. And I know it's kind of like a thing, but it's a responsibility I still have to follow through with. I can't lie to people. If I'm asked a question, they said just be honest with them. I'm going to be honest with them. I'm not going to lie to them. I know it could cause controversy, and I'm sorry if it does cause controversy. I hope you can tell from my heart, I'm a very loving person by nature. I don't approach things always right. I had a hard shell. I've always put a attitude image to myself, which makes people scared. I get that. I was bullied a lot. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just an approach. And I know I ain't always the best, but I'm doing my very best to explain myself and open to the highest of my ability.
I think I understand from your point of view, like concretely now. And there's just some people who won't accept some ideas, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm sorry too.
To wrap this up, because I think we've hit a bit of a brick wall now,
Right.
and thank
For the
you.
sake of peace.
Yeah.
No problem, by the way.
I hope you understand when people have issues with you,
Well, technically,
like for being that way.
Seamus, we still had one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that topic?
How Ken is
Well-
unintentionally, I mean, this might have been discussed when I'm already, and I'm not sure because
You want to bring up how
I've been chatting with the
well-
others, trying to keep them all calmed down. Well, during the last 20 minutes, because everybody is IMing me. Because, anyways, did we discuss how Ken is unintentionally twisting words in order to affect people that don't agree with him right away?
I think I touched upon that. What he's doing is emotionally abusing people. At least in my opinion.
I personally agree with. I personally think so too. So does Robert, Mary, all of them.
So
You can't.
yeah, let's
I
talk
know-
about that
I-
a bit. Actually,
Even if you two become cool with each other, there's still a lot of other people you need to talk to before this is under the bridge.
Mhm.
Especially
And, yeah.
because you just threw all of us out of the server earlier just because we ticked you off.
yeah.
I felt lied to was the thing.
Do you think you
Understand? You probably it was a knee-jerk reaction, but it pissed everybody off, and it made Tommy go insane.
And I get that.
I don't
'cause there's a
don't
fear.
think I've ever heard him cry that hard. Okay, one other time, but I don't want to bring that up.
Yeah. What I think is a good idea. I mean, something to keep in mind is while you don't want to budge on some certain topics, or you don't want to be more inclusive, or you have set beliefs that you don't want to move from, you got to understand that will push people away.
Maybe, and I understand if that pushes people away. That's why they want to leave, they can leave.
Because I'm just going to say it right here, harassing people to get them to believe what you believe is wrong.
I wasn't trying that. I'm just sticking by my beliefs too. People can stick with their beliefs and stick with mine too.
Mike,
That's
do you
all
wanna,
it is.
Mike, do you want to say anything else?
I don't know. I'm just gonna be flat out honest, James. I think you're being way too understanding.
I wanna.
I know,
trying
but
to have a
I've had fights with Ken
conversation.
a million fucking times. I'm not saying
I'm gonna be honest here,
benefit of the
Ken.
doubt or anything like that. I just
Out of the two people here,
let me explain. I know that we've gotten all the topics discussed, but what I'm afraid of is this is going to be like that 10% chance I talked to you about the other day. That this is going to end up changing Ken for a while, and then it's just going to go back to the way it was before.
then let me be clear, Ken.
Hmm.
You have every right to believe in what you want and have the firm, grounded beliefs, even if I think a lot of things you say hurt people. But don't be shocked when people leave you behind for thinking that way.
Fine then.
That is all. That is what I have to say.
Hmm.
Is that? Do you think that's enough, Mike? Because as much as I would like to reach a realization, there's, or like reach an understanding. There's several roadblocks, and I know I can't budge you from your religion. I know it. I'm not even saying like religion is a bad thing, but your belief system. I can't budge you from it, even if I tried hard.
Sorry about that.
And I'm just being realistic.
And
I
I am
don't-
too. That's
I
why I
don't-
want to apologize with the ahead of time for your feelings, because I want you to know that I do care about that too.
But
Even if I'm in a different ground.
even if it hurts you, people, if they don't like your belief system, because a lot of people are more open about that, even if they're Christian, right? And you may
Yeah.
you may think they're false Christians for that, but I think people can choose to
Well,
interpret and believe.
There's
any way
truth
they
to
want.
it. There's truth to that. There's different denominations. That's the reason.
Yeah. They have their beliefs, and if there's conflicts between people's beliefs, then they're not going to get along, and you got
Right.
to understand that.
And I do understand that fully. I just wanted to approach the right way.
All right. I think I said what I wanted to say
Sure, dude.
without bringing up a lot of past drama, but I think I got in what I wanted to tell you.
Sure thing.
Mike?
Well, I don't really want to say anything further because I'll just add fuel to the fire.
Is there anything you
That's
think
why I
you
let
can
you
say?
handle it, because you're being very calm.
That was the deal. That was the deal of this conversation.
That's why I haven't said anything that's currently on my mind. Because we promised to be civil, and if I start talking about that, I probably won't remain civil. And that is against the promise we made to Ken coming into this.
Now,
tell you what it is, but I won't. But I don't want to discuss it.
yeah. So as a closing statement, because this is meant to be a civil conversation, don't expect people to be understanding from your point of view if they don't
if they don't, then sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that. I just
don't want to be hostile. We don't want to have a war or anything. We just want to be happy.
I'm glad. That's been a fear I've had for a long time. It's been an emotional hurt that I've had for years.
All right. With that being said, thank you for having this conversation with us, giving me a chance to, talk to you a bit.
I appreciate it too. I was skeptical about it at first because of how often it's been back and forth with us, but I'm really willing to try to hear, and I'm trying to be better.
Well, I hope you can be better, because I don't like leaving people, and I hate having grudges with people. I really do. Which is why this is significant, right? Between us, this is very significant.
This is super important because it's also got my trust barrier, my fear side, and I'm trying to push away the past to just head forward with this.
Yeah. So I think I've said what I want to say.
Right.
I hope that you can, this is just the same, see the light one day. I hope, and if you don't, I can't do anything about it.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you for listening. Mike, you want to say something? Well, maybe I should leave, and maybe you two want to talk about something, but that is all I wanted to say.
No.
Okay, man.
Huh?
No.
Mike? What?
Like I said, I still think you're being way too understanding, and maybe I'm just being a little heartless because I'm on medicine, but I don't know.
I have. I'm not saying that I don't have. I'm not saying I don't have serious problems with Ken, but I think I wouldn't be able to bring them up in a constructive manner. I would start yelling at you. Let's be honest, Ken. We'll start yelling at each other if we get into it.
Yeah,
we would be lash. There's nothing productive from that because we already know that.
And I care too.
Okay,
deeply.
let me be honest with you.
Having you hurt.
Let me be honest with you. And this is just my personal opinion. Everybody else is probably going to have a different opinion than me. I think you only solved this between you and Ken, and not Ken and everybody else.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry.
Like, I'm still full of contempt.
Well, we still have this conversation, right? Like, I think
I suppose we could just have it go on like a working process, and eventually we can all get it all.
It's not like this has to be the last conversation.
That's fair.
All right,
I will.
Maybe I just need to sleep on it, and I'll feel better.
Yeah.
Something.
Even if we never agree with each other, at least being civil is better than
the only thing
last time.
The thing I'm worried about is Gamer.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't.
Well, that's not what I mean. I'm not talking about pulling Gamer into the other server. I'm talking about how Gamer's going to react to all of this, because me and consider Gamer really close to us, so.
Yeah. I hope he understands.
No, he's not going to understand. He's going to flip out.
Give him the benefit of the doubt, but yeah.
I don't think he's ever... Gamer is an angry person, damn it!
Yeah, he's a gamer.
I will always respect Gamer, though, because when it comes down to it, he's a true friend. Kendall can attest to that.
Yes.
I don't know. You guys can worry about, like, you and the others can, like,
we
Think about whether
we
you want to
didn't
try Gamer
really-
again some other time. That's not what this is for.
and I wanna make clear, we were just trying to have a constructive conversation. We both disagree on pretty much everything. Just want to let you know.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
But that doesn't mean I can't talk to you sometimes and, pick your brain a bit about subjects.
As long as you're civil about it, I'll be willing to listen.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I'll leave it unblocked for that.
All right.
Also, you might want to stay away from Joseph for a little while.
Joseph will go out on.
And he's already blocked still.
Yeah, but it's not his fault. You blocked him for no reason. He did nothing this time.
No, he's been blocked like that. I never unblocked him.
Yeah, but
from
you
that
banned him
last-
from the server.
Yeah,
But that's different from blocking him.
That's worse.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to say I didn't block him from the recent. It's just what it is, just to correct it. But that's not the point.
One more question.
Wait, I don't understand what you mean by that.
Why did you remove the server?
I felt like a very high uncomfortability. Because let me tell you this much already. You know it's hard enough when you have a server and you're going through an issue like you're almost ready to like lose your server alone and your internet along with that, and your friend doesn't even negotiate with you, just tells you, oh yeah, I'm going to add the person that doesn't really stand your guts into the server already alone. And by itself originally would leave alone. But I do know that there are mockeries. I know that there is hatred toward me, especially with that guy. And
I'm not gonna hide that either with me, Ken. You know that.
yeah, I know that.
But I just want to know why he was removed this time. He didn't really seem to be doing anything.
It like right after I was like placing my PM, unlike how I don't like whenever people just brag about their stuff like that. I like people to be people. It felt like a personal attack with that PM, because I know I had a mockery earlier, which wasn't really did anything to me. The SJW thing actually kind of made me laugh a little. It brought like a chuckle to me.
Yeah,
but
I made that one.
Yeah, that one made me chuckle. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, at least you have a good sense of humor sometimes. I can say that.
Mm-hmm. And part of me was joking back, not to cause like controversy and stuff like that. Like, hey, look, at least he's honest about something now. But yeah.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that, but I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
From your point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things.
Yeah. I love memes, dude. I don't meme about anything. Right. Even about people I don't like, and if they like my meme, then
right. If not,
that's great. Yeah. Even if people who don't like me like my meme, that's like a net gain for me. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's just an internet thing. You just learn to adjust to.
Yeah.
I just haven't been in the mood for that stuff anymore. I've grown different from that. I just try to keep connections now because it's been rough times.
Yeah. But I think that's it. So
Sure, dude.
I would like to have another conversation. Maybe trying to pick your brain a bit more if you don't mind next time. I don't know if you're comfortable with that. You see, even if I don't like you, I don't like making people uncomfortable. I'm sure you understand that.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it does feel a bit uncomfortable just because of our differentness and our like disagreement on everything. It just feels like it's gonna approach that path.
Yeah.
I don't want to approach that on a negative note. I'd just rather go my merry ways if that was an issue. Because I don't want to fight about this anymore. It's been too many years.
I would argue open conversation is much better than just leaving your merry way, because people do care about you, even though if you've wronged them before, people really do care about you. Like, I know Mike cares about you, Tommy cares about you, Carlos cares about you. Even if they're hurt, they would like to talk to you someday, I think.
and I'm willing to have them look. All right, let me look. Come on. All right, let me do this. I'll do this. Okay.
All right.
Let me see. I'll unblock Carlos. Who do I wanna? I wanna unblock.
If you're gonna talk to Carlos, it should be with me or James right now because
Well,
Yeah.
that's up to him.
Earlier.
But keep in mind, the
Yeah.
option there is unblocked.
I mean, I know Carlos has gotten a lot stronger, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overprotective.
I
That's
think
fair.
Carlos has gotten a lot stronger too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
fair.
great.
Again, I'm trying the segments of what I can unblock and who I can who wants to
All right.
conversate and who just wants to yell.
And-
Because if it's just yelling, I'm not gonna deal with that. It's just
Again,
gonna cause
it's up to you.
other friction. It's gonna cause other problems, and I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the conversation. I can thank even people I don't like. I think I can respect them for even coming in here and talking for a bit.
I'm doing my very best to approach this in an honest manner.
I guess I'll talk to you next time we have a conversation. Maybe we won't, but I guess see you around.
I'll do my very best if it's heavy, I'll let you know.
All right. See ya.